Okay, we are gonna go ahead and get started so that we don't keep you guys too late. So thank you all so much for coming out tonight. This is our kickoff event for our Young Blood program. Today we have some very amazing speakers that I would love to introduce. So I'm Vijaya Dutt. I'm a senior double majoring in neuroscience and psychology, and I am the president of University Blood Initiative at UTD. I'm really excited to be in this position because there is so much that I've learned about blood donation, and I think that it's such an important topic. You will learn more about it tonight, so I won't go on my little spiel about it yet. But yes, let me introduce the speakers. So Aviva is the CEO and founder of University Blood Initiative. You can see her face right now. She graduated from the University of Chicago and attends the Feinberg School of Medicine. Her favorite thing is stalking the UBI chapters on social media to see what we are all up to and making sure we're all doing our job. That's a joke. She encourages us a lot. And then also here is Dr. Mary Berg. She's the medical director for the Transfusion Service, Blood Disorders Center, Apheresis Service, and Auto Transfusion Service of the University of Colorado Hospital. In addition, she's the professor of clinical pathology and assistant program director for the Anatomic and Clinical Pathology Residency and program director of the Fellowship in Blood Banking and Transfusion Medicine at the CU Colorado University School of Medicine. I feel like I'm reading a CV right now. This is so amazing. So Dr. Mary Berg is also an esteemed member of the Academy of Clinical Laboratory Physicians and Scientists and the American Society for Clinical Pathology, the Association for Advancement of Blood and Biotherapies, the College of American Pathologists, and the South Central Association of Blood Banks, which is abbreviated as SCABB, and they are one of the very key players in hosting this event today. Also here is Bill. I don't have a full bio for him, but he's the technical director of LifeSouth, and he's also the district director of SCABB, who, as I mentioned, is one of the organizations that are essential to us having this event today. And then also here's Aaron. I will introduce him. Aaron grew up in Missouri and played baseball in college at the University of Evansville in Indiana. He attended graduate school in Chicago at Northeastern Illinois in the mid-90s and moved to Dallas in 1997. He worked for Baylor Hospital for 4 years and then Philips Medical as a medical device sales rep for 15 years before starting at Carter Blood Care in 2016. Awesome. He has 2 boys who are aged 14 and 16. He's been married for 18 years to his wife, Courtney, and he has a dog called Waylon, who's 5, and a mixed lab pit bull.
I'm not quite as impressive as the other people.
Aaron is very impressive. He is who I refer to as the Carter representative to every single organization at UTD who's hosting a blood drive. I always put everyone in his direction. He is such a key player in having blood drives on campus. He makes every single thing happen, and I've personally seen how difficult that is to do. So thank you, Aaron. And I'm so sorry I didn't introduce Kelly Anderson. She's a laboratory manager, and she's going to be speaking with Bill today. Okay.
Vijay, I'm assuming it's my slide, but we can't actually see the slide.
I will fix that.
Can they see the audience?
Don't be mistakes. I mean, not mistakes. Technical difficulties happen in every single institution, from the NIH to everything else. Is there any way to get rid of the reverb as I'm talking? Maybe like mute the computer itself, or I don't know.
It sounds good from where we're sitting.
Okay, as long I can get rid of the sound of my own voice. I'll ignore it. So, hi everybody, my name is Aviva Klein, and I am the founder of the University Blood Initiative. I'm really happy to be here today. I can't see y'all, but I hear it's a great turnout, and that makes me so happy because Vijay and her team have been doing a lot of work and have been very stressed about doing this well. Um, but most of all, I'm excited because I really try hard to make sure UBI gives as much back to the volunteers that give so much to their communities. So UBI is a national 501c3 that is dedicated to making the blood supply more equitable so that everyone in communities just like yours can get the health care that they need. I won't read everything on the slide, but we achieve our mission by focusing on education, advocacy. Transfusion medicine overlaps with basically every topic you can think of, from gay rights, environmentalism. There's been a lot of detective journalism about the paid plasma industry. And so each chapter, like Vijaya, focuses on different topics that mean the most to their communities so that people can understand its importance and also find commonalities with their own interests, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters to create buy-in. And then they have lots of cool events that aren't just boring rantings at you like I'm about to do, like case competitions if you like business, journal clubs if you want to do science. People have done concerts because they're orchestra majors, art competitions, etc., etc. We have a good time here. So, Vijay, you can like change the slide now. Okie doke. So I'm really proud to say that we have saved around 40,000 lives, probably been more now because we've had blood drives, but I haven't changed the slide yet. I'm also really proud to say that we are really diverse in the number of our members. So we are 80% person of color and 14% LGBTQ plus. We also have a lot of different majors and backgrounds and interests, from like comp sci majors, lawyers, MBA students, graphic designers, HR managers, even random Microsoft employees that are doing our data technology stuff. Everybody can find a way to give back at the chapter level, at our level, and as you will soon see, at blood centers in the greater blood donation community. So, yes, all of you can make a positive change today. Well, I hope we can convince you that anyway. But I think with that, Vijay, it's your turn.
Okay. So Aviva talked about what University Blood Initiative is doing at the national scale, which is a lot. I'm here to kind of focus it down to what we do at UTD specifically. So again, our mission is to create a sustainable and equitable blood supply for the good of all. So what does that mean at UTD? That means that every semester we host at least one blood drive that's on campus. You may have seen the carded blood care trucks that are actually like right over here, right outside in the loading zone area. We also promote every single carded blood care drive that happens on campus. And we offer consistent volunteer opportunities to help with promoting and running these drives. So anyone who's looking to get some consistent volunteer hours for any reason, like if you're pre-med or a JSOM major, this is a really great way to get those hours in. We also provide professional, educational, and social resources. Some examples is that we've partnered in the past, and we will partner again in the future with Princeton Review to hold pre-medical workshops and other events. So we have an upcoming free MCAT practice test coming up soon. We also have panels and guest speakers. So in the past, I think just a week ago, we had a research panel. We also have educational and personal development workshops. And one more thing that you'll be seeing is we'll be raising funds in order to increase donor recruitment and spread awareness on campus and in our community. Okay, so I wanted to put out some goals. I know these are very exciting to me. They may not be as exciting to you, but hopefully I can convince you on how big of a deal these things are. So one of my goals is to reach the minimum amount of donors that Carter Blood Care requests for their drives on campus, which is 22 people. Yes, about 22 people. Yeah, about 22 people. So even if that's not the official stat.
Depends on how many hours we're out.
Okay.
You know, the higher the goal, the goal goes higher the more hours we're out here.
Gotcha. So Aaron just provided some information that the amount of donors depends on the amount of hours that the blood drive takes, obviously. So for a 6-hour drive on campus, which is what is often held, the goal for donors is about 22 for those, and it's not always met. So it requires some marketing, getting the word around. A lot of people who are in this club really care about blood donations. So one of our goals is to create that community of people where we can get the word out about blood drives. Another goal is that we want to make it easier for organizations to hold blood drives on campus. This may not be applicable to all of you guys, but sometimes holding a blood drive is difficult. So we hope that we can help ease that process for other organizations. And overall, that just leads to getting more people donating blood at the drives. And then one more goal is that we really want blood donation to be something that is fun. Donors are giving us their time and their blood and saving lives while they're doing it, but we hope that we can make it a more fun experience. So we hope to make some incentives that can help recruit more donors, spread awareness, and honor the donation that our donors are giving. In the future, this is more long-term, we hope to create a consistent calendar of blood drives so that people know that there's a blood drive happening the last week of every month or something like that. And then we also want to reach into our community, and so not just at UTD, but make blood drives something that everybody is in on. Oops. We could ignore that. So some successes that we've had at UTD already, and this is all thanks to you guys. So we had a blood drive on September 7th, and that drive had the greatest number of donors, which is 29, at a UTD blood drive since November 2022. And I had to include that this number of donors was even with turning away about 21 people because of lack of time or because of deferrals due to temporary disqualifications like travel or other issues. Another win is that we were able to use our resources to have tables in the SU, which people can volunteer for. And we recruited more than half the appointments for the September 21st drive. And we've already offered 39 total volunteer hours this semester. And I'm talking too much. So some upcoming events we're having that you can be on the lookout for on our social media is a Feed My Starving Children volunteering this Saturday, more events that are like pre-med with the Princeton Review, and then socials, of course, blood drives, educational events, etc. Amazing. I don't know what that was. If anyone wants our contact information, this is my email, that, and our Instagram website. You could probably find it somewhere else too. Okay.
Is that you? Is that a picture of you? No.
No, this is not me. Okay, now I'm going to pass it over to Mary Berg.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I want to thank you for just joining and listening to what we have to say. One of the reasons that I'm one of the people talking to tonight is because I'm the guest at the Association of Blood Bank. And one of the things that we do in South Central, you can go ahead and forward it, is that we have institutions, and people are institution members that save our body. People to So when we've met Aviva, we learned from the University of London to be great with her and her organization to provide more of production to the area of transfusion. So Vijaya, can you forward the slide?
Yeah, Mary, it's a bit hard to hear you. You're cutting out a little bit.
Oh, okay. If I move my, is it better if I'm closer?
Maybe not. Can you try? It's just cutting out a little bit.
Okay, I'm sorry. There might be some background noise, but
Okay, I think that's better. Okay.
So we wanted to help our institutional members to recruit new staff, and Viva and her organization wanted to give more opportunities to their members to do something other than just host blood drives. And we thought, well, this is a win-win situation. We need you in the area of transfusion medicine, so let's introduce you to what we do. And as an introduction to that, I'd like to tell you about a very dramatic example of how we need a lot of people to help our patients in our hospitals. So go ahead and forward to the next slide. So I'm going to tell you about this patient. She's a 40-year-old woman. She has 3 sons at home, and she was pregnant with twins. She was at another hospital, and she developed a syndrome called HELP syndrome. And HELP is not spelled incorrectly there. It's hemolysis, elevated liver function tests, and low platelets. And what happens is basically the liver is damaged as a result of preeclampsia, which is a pregnancy complication. And when that happens, you can have basically the capsule of the liver separate from the actual rest of the liver, and blood will gather underneath that capsule. And in very severe situations, which is what happened here, that subcapsular hematoma ruptures. And so she had a ruptured liver. She had an emergency C-section to deliver her twins, and they were fine at 32 weeks gestation. And then she was transferred to our hospital to be evaluated for a liver transplant. And it was an emergency listing. They knew that she wouldn't last long, and we needed to work really fast. So go to the next slide. As soon as she got to our hospital, we started giving her platelet transfusions because she needed that to stop bleeding, and she had a very low platelet count. And what this slide is showing is that she had a lot of antibodies, and these are HLA antibodies. Platelets carry HLA class 1 antibodies, so HLA-A and HLA-B. And what happens is that when these antibodies attack the platelets, then the platelets are basically taken up by the spleen, and they don't go to the site of bleeding where they're needed. So not only do we not see an increase in the platelet count when the person gets a platelet transfusion, but we also aren't going to be able to stop bleeding. And she had a ton of antibodies. And you can see where it says PRA% and it says 100. What that means is basically she is incompatible with 100% of our platelet donors, that we needed to find platelets that exactly matched her HLA type in order for us to find platelets that would stop her from bleeding. Well, this is a problem because she was going to have this big complex surgery, and we needed to find platelets that would work for her and find a lot of them in a very short period of time. So it wasn't just a matter of giving her platelets while she was in the hospital. It was finding donors and lining them up so that we would have platelets available for the day of her surgery. And of course, when you get a liver transplant, it happens when the donor is available. So it's not like we could say, okay, let's plan a week from Tuesday, we're going to do a surgery and we need to have the donors available. We needed to have them whenever the surgery was going to take place. So we were scrambling. We put out a nationwide alert. We asked our blood suppliers, which are Vitalant and the Red Cross, to look for donors to match her. And we also thought, well, let's see if we have any family members. So go ahead to the next slide. Because the most likely place to find somebody who is going to match her is to find a family member that has the same HLA type as she does. And so we basically looked everywhere that we possibly could. Literally, it was a nationwide search. And we really couldn't find much of anything that would work for her. So we had one sister who was a compatible donor, and we had one donor that was slightly mismatched, that their platelets worked for her. So we were trying to, keep her out of trouble while she was in the hospital. And then we found out that she was one of 7 siblings. And so we reached out to her siblings and said, hey, would you guys and gals be willing to donate platelets for her? And unfortunately, her family lived all over the place. So we were in Colorado, and her mom was in Colorado helping with the boys at home. Her dad and one sister were back in Utah, and as were her 3 brothers. And then she had 2 other sisters who lived down in Texas. And so we had to reach out to the Red Cross in Utah, to We Are Blood and Carter down in Texas to say, hey, can you collect platelets from these people, do HLA typing on them, and send us the platelets? And what we promised is that, hey, we will buy the platelets from you. We will give these platelets as long as you send them to us, but we need to know this HLA typing. And what you can see in this table is that our patient has the A1B44 type from dad, and then she has the A1B40 from mom. And if you look at mom's type, She is homozygous A1 and homozygous B40. So all of the siblings got the same type from mom. So at least that half of them would be compatible with what she needed. But the problem was that if they didn't have that A1B44, she had an antibody against the A3B35 allele from dad. And so all of those were incompatible. And now we were kind of stuck because, okay, mom can donate for her, and mom did donate for her, and one sister could donate for her, and that sister did donate for her. But we also got platelets from all of these other siblings. And so we basically had to reach out to say, okay, we need these people to donate. And we still had our search out nationwide to say, okay, who else can we get platelets from? And we had all of our blood centers all across the country looking through their donor files to say, okay, who do we have who might be a match? And as it was, even with her siblings, we didn't necessarily get a platelet from all of them. So her sisters, for example, also had HLA antibodies, and we don't normally take platelets from people who have HLA antibodies. They were mostly first-time donors, and so they didn't pass the donor history questionnaire. One in particular didn't have good enough veins, and so couldn't do an apheresis platelet collection. And then, of course, we needed to make sure that the units were irradiated because of a risk of transfusion-associated graft versus host disease. So all of these things were issues that we had to address, working out, trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this? So we started to get the platelets in, we started to get the testing results, we started to get responses from people all over the country, and then we got the call we were dreading, okay, it's time. She is going to go to surgery. So before we forward to the next slide, I'm supposed to warn you that there is a picture on the next slide from the operating room of her having her surgery. And in terms of what her surgery was, it was a big mess. So what you'll see is there are blue packs on the floor. Of each pack is holding 10 red cell units, and then there are also canisters that contain blood. So go ahead and forward to the next slide so we can show what this looked like. And so you can see that it was a big mess. And we got in platelets all throughout the day from multiple places in order to get platelets for her. So we gave her the platelets even from her family members that didn't match, because we were also giving her random other platelets. And what we did is we'd give one platelet from a brother, and then one platelet that we knew wouldn't match, and then another platelet from somebody else. And we kept doing it intermittently to show the different, to allow the different donors to be used, knowing that some of these were going to be bled out all over the floor. So we got platelets that day from the Red Cross, from Carter Blood Care, from Blood Source, from Vitalant. These platelets came from Las Vegas, from Seattle, from North Carolina. It was all over the country, literally, that we kept getting shipments in throughout the day. She had a 14-hour surgery, and she took a ton of blood. So you can see at the bottom of this slide, that is basically showing you, this is a clip from the anesthesia record. So she took over 130 units of red cells. She took 24 units of platelets, and obviously not all those were matched platelets. She took 264 or 81 plasma units, a ton of cryo, and then cell saver means that they were basically collecting the blood that she was bleeding out and washing it and giving it back. And she took over 34 liters of cell saver blood. And so her estimated blood loss was 165,000. So basically 165 liters, which is something like, 32 times her actual blood volume. And it took 14 hours. It was a big mess, and it was very scary. And we really scrambled all day long to keep up with the demand just for this one patient. So go ahead to the next slide. And when I saw the surgeon a few months later, this is a direct quote from her. And she said, "I don't think I ever told you that whenever I think of this patient, I think of you. As far as I'm concerned, this patient is alive today because everything you did for her." And Vijay, you can advance through the thank yous. So I want to say thank you to anybody out there who is a blood donor, who has been a blood donor, but also to all of the other people that made this happen, because it wasn't just me, right? This was the blood donor. This was the nurse who drew the blood. This was the person who drove the bus to set up the blood mobile, or transported the blood to the hospital. This is the person who tested the blood. The person who recruited the blood donors, the person who organized the blood drive. It took a lot of people in a lot of different places all over the country to make this happen. And because of that, because of all of these people doing their part and contributing, this woman is alive today. So her 5 kids have a mom, her husband has a wife, her siblings have their sister, her parents have their daughter, all because of all of these people who contributed to what happened for this one woman on this very special day. So thank you for everything that you do, whether it's donating blood or working in the blood field. And I want to point out again that this takes a lot of people. And so I want to pass it off to Bill Martinez, who's going to tell you about, okay, what are we talking about in terms of people? What do we need? And what are some of your options? So thanks for your attention and thanks for coming.
Great talk, Dr. Berg. Can you guys hear me all right? Okay, so I hope to inspire many of you to take on a career in healthcare. Can you imagine the feeling of satisfaction from saving this woman's life as compared to some other endeavor? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So blood banking is healthcare. It's considered healthcare as part of state law, as part of the legal system. So I want to talk about healthcare, but I'm also talking about blood banking. Healthcare employs more people in the United States than any other profession. You can see here that of total employees in the USA, healthcare and social assistance employs 15.7% of people. And you can see how it compares to other occupations, say manufacturing at 9.1%, wholesale trade at 4.7%. And I think that there's one of the reasons for healthcare employing so many people is that it's really hard to automate, robotize healthcare work. It's a personal type of work. Automation does make healthcare people working in healthcare more productive, but it doesn't necessarily replace a large percentage of them. So that is good for people looking for opportunities, for career opportunities. It's hard to predict which careers are going to be in less demand because of AI and automation, assuming many of those tasks. But in healthcare, that seems not to be as much the case. The slide I'm showing now shows projections for health expenditures in the United States going forward. And the point of this slide is that, as I showed you before, healthcare employs more people than anybody else, and the trend of expenditures in healthcare is still going up. Going to beat the point to death here, but government spending, government spends expenditures, 21% are directed to healthcare. Compare that to defense, which is 10%. So the government spends a great deal of the tax dollars in healthcare. And as you saw from the trend line above before in the graph before, it continues to grow. Now, in terms of the GDP, the gross domestic product of the nation, healthcare accounts for 18.3%. So it's 21% of government dollars and 18.3% of GDP is spent on healthcare. So now that I've shown you a little bit about the magnitude of healthcare in the economy and the opportunities for employment associated with healthcare, I want to make a case for job satisfaction in healthcare and how it may be be more satisfying career than some other careers. And listening to Dr. Berg's story, imagine being able to go home and say, I saved this woman's life because of, being able to work with other people and apply my knowledge and skills. And so here it shows the sense of identity for different types of employment, and then people who identify with their profession tend to have a higher job satisfaction. So not-for-profits, healthcare industry, education, those the people working in those professions seem to identify with their career more than people working in other professions, according to Pew Research. So now, enough of data. Let me play a video for you about working at a blood center. And again, blood centers are healthcare.
At your local blood center is right for you. Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood. The blood drawn at a blood center goes to hospitals to save the lives of our friends and neighbors. A diverse set of roles and skills make that possible. Many people, one mission. How does blood get from the arms of volunteers to patients in need? It takes a dedicated team of phlebotomists, lab technicians, inventory specialists, communications and marketing experts, delivery drivers, and more. Blood center employees are at the heart of this life-saving system. You can join the team in an entry-level position and receive on-the-job training or translate your existing expertise to a rewarding career. There are many essential jobs behind the scenes in the blood donation pipeline that could be right for you. When you choose to work here, it's not just a job, it's a stable career that makes a difference by serving and engaging your community. Where will you fit in? Find out more about a future career.
All right. Also wanted to, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. So I also wanted to make a case for healthcare not being a static field. It's continuously changing and evolving. So if learning new things is something that motivates you, then that may be another reason why healthcare career may be a good fit for your future. So here, this shows the amount of the increase in DNA testing and the decrease in costs from sequencing. And those are all good signs of progress. And blood banking is not just blood donation anymore. I'm going to show you a quick video of stem cell therapy and its potential for saving lives. And the reason for showing it to you is that there is infrastructure in blood centers that can be leveraged to by hospitals, so they don't have to duplicate the same type of investment. So working collaboratively, the blood center can collect donors, stem cell donors, can process cells, and make them available to the practitioners, and they can do CAR T manipulation on these cells and use them for cell therapy. I'm going to go ahead and show you this video. It's fairly quick, and I think you'll like it. It's pretty amazing. Let me know if you have trouble hearing it.
She relapsed in October 2011, and at that point, we knew it wasn't kind of the standard garden variety leukemia. Then she relapsed again in February 2012, and so it was at that point that we made the decision that we needed to go somewhere else where we knew we needed to try something new and something different.
We're told that we were down to 48 hours of making a decision, or she could start to have organ failure.
We knew that there were things offered here that would be different from what a local hospital could offer, and things that were more, I guess, cutting edge, newer things that were being tried that weren't being tried anywhere else.
So we're really down to the CART-19 is what's left for Emily to cure her. So we're ready to go today.
Right now we're feeling hopeful, really hopeful. It's a little bit scary because Emily is one of the first patients to receive this. She's the first pediatric patient.
I've felt all along that she's going to beat cancer, and today's our day when we're going to start doing it. You want to say anything else, then? What are we going to do today? What are we going to do today? You going to get your T cells? What are they going to do?
Do you remember? Mm-mm.
What are they going to take away? Cancer. That's right.
So CART-19 is a treatment for patients with fairly advanced leukemia. Most patients who have the kind of leukemia that CART-19 treats, which is the most common kind of childhood leukemia, it's called B-cell ALL. That is a disease where most patients are treated very successfully with standard chemotherapy. But there's a subset of those patients and a substantial number of children in the United States for whom chemotherapy does not work, or it works temporarily. So for that group of patients who have very treatment-resistant disease, we need something brand new. And CART-19 is for those patients. The essential nature of the CART-19 treatment is that we have to get cells from the patient. These cells are called T cells. They're cells of the immune system that need to be engineered. We can engineer these cells to go after cancer cells and kill them.
So Emily had her the CART-19 therapy April 17th, and we were told to expect that she would possibly get a little bit of a fever and feel like she had the flu, but she ended up getting pretty sick shortly after, and she was put on a ventilator because of how sick she was.
They had come with a team of doctors in the PICU every morning and did rounds with us, and we were always first. And they would come to us and kind of show us a line on the floor and say, if that's the line of survival, Emily is almost stepped past it.
During the few days when she was quite sick, she was receiving the most advanced medical care that's available on the planet. So the people in the hospital were taking care of this child during the period she was quite sick until such time as we learned what was wrong, had a chance to intervene, and made her better. One of the results of her T cells growing in her body was that she had an increase in various proteins that control the immune reaction. And this increase in those proteins was actually making her ill. We actually found that one of these proteins was quite elevated, and as it turns out, there's a drug that targets that exact protein. We gave her that drug, and she had a dramatic response. The ICU doctor on that night told me that he had never seen a patient that sick get better that quickly.
We weren't sure at that time if the CART-19 cells were working, if they weren't working.
About 3 weeks after we gave her her T cells, we did another bone marrow test. This young lady had not been in a remission for a number of months, and she now was in a complete remission. So she completely responded to her T cell therapy.
We were able to get home June 1st, and since that time, she's been great. She's been happy and healthy and returned back to school.
I'm going to go ahead and stop it early because I know we're running out of time, and I just want you all to know that that young lady is, she's college age and she's doing well, and she hasn't, cancer hasn't relapsed. And now, I'm going to stop sharing so that you can play Kelly's presentation. I want to introduce you to Kelly Anderson. She's a young lady who is a manager of some of our most complex laboratories, and I'll let her tell you about her experience.
Hello, I'm Kelly Anderson. I'm the lab manager here at Life South Community Blood Centers in Gainesville, Florida. I wanted to tell you a little bit about how awesome a career in the blood center can be. Blood centers offer a large array of different career opportunities. There's something for everyone, no matter what your expertise. We have need for IT, marketing, training development, technical writers, QA, regulatory experts, and lots of science jobs. The industry is rapidly changing and evolving, so we are always implementing new processes, products, and instruments. So if you're a lifetime learner like me, this is a really fantastic job to work in because there's always more to learn if you want to keep learning. The Blood Center also works as a team with the mission to provide safe blood to patients in need, no matter if you are the phlebotomist collecting the blood, in the components lab processing the blood, in the testing lab verifying that the blood is safe and potent, or the couriers transporting the blood to the hospital. We all work as one team. though we don't often get to see patients and they don't see us, we still have a sense of fulfillment knowing that the job that we do is helping patient care. So I hope that you give the Blood Center an opportunity to show you what it can do for you.
If you want, the video's right here.
Okay. Let me put that on the screen here. Okay, so Vijaya already gave you guys my incredible bio. What was my dog's name? A little trivia. Anybody remember my dog's name? Any Skunkies in there? No, that's okay. No Skunkies. So, I have worked at Carter Blood Care for about 8 years now, as Vijay alluded to, and I have really loved working there. It's a very inclusive place. They ask for your opinion. One more slide.
Okay. We were muted.
Yeah. So how many units of blood did Carter collect in 2022? And keep in mind, we got offices in Tyler and Waco, and then the one here in Bedford. So how many units? And I think I'm going to give you guys like the starters to the Carter answers correctly. If that's legal, can I do that? I can't pay college students. Okay, yes, sir.
10 million.
That's pretty. That's high. 400,000. 400,000. No, you meant 400,000. That's exactly right. 400,000 is above the She said 400. I think she meant 400,000. Anyway, well, that's it. Do you have something you want to say about the event that's coming up on the 23rd? Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. I think this is the last thing we have for tonight. I'm sorry to keep you guys a little later than 7. Okay. So the reason that we're hosting this event is to promote a subsequent event that is happening on October 23rd from 5:30 to 9 p.m. at the Carter Blood Care Center in Bedford, Texas. This is a really, really cool experience, which you guys will have priority applications for, where you all can get a tour of the blood bank, the facilities, and Carter Blood Care. And then I think this is already listed out, so I don't know why I'm freestyling. You will, at this event, learn more about Carter Blood Care and blood collection. You can learn about possible career paths from the directors in Carter Blood Care themselves. So that's like potential for networking there. You can get a tour of the blood center and the blood processing procedures themselves. And like I said, you can network with the professionals who will actually be providing these lectures to you guys. And Carter Blood Care is providing free pizza. Yeah, okay. So the agenda, I don't think I need to read off everything for you guys. I think you can read. But we're gonna give a background on what Carter Blood Care is, and we're gonna talk about careers in so many different areas. So collections and recruitment, component production, product quality control and distribution, accounting and finance, human resources, information systems, medical laboratory scientist careers and career pathways, and careers as a medical director in pathology. So there are so many different options, as we have been saying throughout the night, for people of any major to get involved in this, which is very exciting for us. Okay. So as we've been waiting, here's the sign-up form to sign up to come to that event on October 23rd at 5:30 p.m. I thought it was at 6 p.m. That's sometime on October 23rd in the evening. We'll be coordinating rides to that event.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a good hour drive.
I think it's 30.
During,